this is Dee here from Yoga Kinship. Thank you so much for visiting my channel and for listening right now. I know time is precious. I wanted to talk a little bit about yoga mindset. We are a yoga mindset company, which basically means, well, if I break it down in this way, we kind of have speak a lot about mindset, right? Our opinions, our belief systems, the way we perceive information, and we often now talk a lot about having a growth mindset, so being resilient, being open to feedback, the whole power of yet. You may have heard a little bit about that, or a lot about that. So yoga mindset is kind of like thinking about our mindset, thinking about a growth mindset, thinking about yoga, which again, there's so many different versions of and ideas and philosophies, and I am no expert. I want to proclaim that quite loudly. I am definitely not a yoga expert. I am somebody learning about yoga in the same way that potentially you guys are. But yoga really, from my perspective and from what I have learned, is a philosophy of union as in like yoking together. Yoga actually means to yoke and bring together, and the idea of balance as well, of being able to balance both the physical and the emotional and mental, and so putting all of those things together, the idea of mindset, our opinions and our perceptions, the idea of growth mindset in terms of being positive and resilient and being open to feedback and growth, and then the idea of yoga, which is often discussed in terms of physical poses or exercises, but that's not how I look at it, and I don't think that's the way that yoga was intended to be experienced. So looking at yoga more in terms of balance and union and healing and restoration. So putting all of those things together is really where I came up with yoga mindset. So this channel really is not just about kind of the content of videos and flow, even though they will be included and they are really an important part of my practice and hopefully your practice. But it's also about thinking about the vast majority of the time when we're not actually on the mat. If we think about being on the mat, maybe some of us 10 minutes a day, maybe some of us every other day, some of us maybe on there for an hour and a half. There are days where we just don't feel like doing it, or there are days where our body just doesn't need it, okay, right? Our body just doesn't need to be in those physical movements or poses. So the majority of our life, the majority of our time is not spent on the mat, which is why we really want to develop a yoga mindset so that we are thinking about our health off the mat too, and that's our emotional health, that's our mental health, that's our social health. So many of us, including myself, suffer with social anxiety or the fear of being in spaces and around people that make us feel a little vulnerable or uncomfortable. And so I really want to develop practice and offer content here that helps you to develop a yoga mindset and work on all of those things that we need to build a holistic self off and on the mat. So we're going to talk a lot about advocating for our health, about loving the bodies that we are in, about self-care, about how we treat other people, about being mindful of our talk, particularly our self-talk, about practicing ahimsa, which is the idea of non-violence, so being non-competitive, not worrying about what clothing we have on or what the next person doing a pose is, or the fact that we can or cannot do a crow or handstand. And by the way, I've never done a handstand in my life. So really wanted to talk a little bit more about what yoga mindset is, and we'll continue to talk about that. I'd love your feedback, your responses. I want to say again and proclaim from the highest mountain, I am not an expert, and I hope to learn as much from you guys on this journey as you potentially and hopefully learn from me. I'd love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to share this. And this is a space for every single body. So those of us that did not feel or do not feel that our body is a particular yoga body, I'm here to say that yes, it is. And I hope to see you as much as possible. See you soon. Subscribe, like, and have a beautiful day.